Okay, here we are at the day 3 of game development of Galactic Greenhouse, a WebGL game that is suitable for kids. And welcome back to the channel. And I hope that you are enjoying this tutorial series. And today I just wanted to dive in the development of this game because I did not manage to catch up on the last 2 or 3 days in this for developing this game. So today I wanted to accomplish is that let the game look like this thing, and this is my main character, and these are the pots I'm trying to the player needed to put over this production zone, or what do I say, plant raise zone. These are the plant raise zones, and I want to add functionality of this plant raise zones inside the game, and maybe adding some fans and adding some temperature arrangements for this section. And in the previous section I managed to finalize this dragging and dropping functionality, so let's continue with these plant raise zones. And in order to make these plant raise zones, let me just generate a cube and get this as plant raise zone. Change the color to red or something like this. Okay, this is nice. It's looking nice, and it may look like this. And let's set this to its trigger, and also maybe add a rigid body over it in order to keep the thing awake. And let's just go over it, and yes, this is my plant raise zone 1, let's say. So what I wanted to accomplish with this plant raise zone is that first thing I wanted to accomplish that when my player goes and grabs this cube and gets over this plant raise zone. By the way, let's make some arrangements with this cube grabbing functionality. Let's find the player sensor over here. This is the player sensor, and grab item. Okay, let's just set, after I grab the cube, this is the pots. Okay, 0, 0. First of all, let's change the color of this pot as in this picture, but it's kind of orange. Okay, go with this thing. If the player grabs it, right now the position or the location does not feel right, so I just wanted to update the grabbing, for example 1.5 or 1.2, and set the other values to 0. Let's set, after grabbing the ports, 1.2, and set all the rotation, set all the Euler angles. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it a lot. Local transformation this, set the parent to this, and then set the grab transformation to 0, 0, and 1.2 f. Rotation to new Turnian identity. Okay, how can I set this to Euler to 0, 0, 0? How about now? Did I save it? Yes. Okay, what's wrong with this thing? Merge obstacle to false. Let's try it again. Grab it, drop it, grab it, 0, 0, 1.2, but the rotation is not correct. Why the rotation is not correct? Quaternion, Euler. Okay, right now it's looking nice. If the player grabs the pots, yes, this is more satisfying. Right now, the raising zone need to know that if pot is over this, or maybe in this drop item section. Clear sensor, if item grab, it can be grabbed. Okay. Actually, I wanted to place the pot over the placing zone, over this zone, over this plant raise zone. If the pot, if this pot is over this plant raise zone, or if the cubes, the colliders are, if there is a collision between this pot and this player raise zone, I want, and the player presses the drop button, I want this pot to be placed over that raise zone and not on the corner of it, or not on the close, or not on the not on a wrong direction, or not on a not on the direction that is currently on the player, but I want this cube to be directly placed over this raise zone with the position or the rotation I want. So let's go over here, and setting a pod script will be better in here. And let's copy and paste some this on trigger enter and on trigger exit functions from the player sensor. Let's just copy and paste them, and I want to add this tagging option for the plant raise zone, tag for the plant raise zone. Here is my pod. If other compare tag is plant raise zone, log and set a pod touching a plant raise zone. Let's copy and paste it over here. Pods not touching a plant raise zone. Let's just track these messages over here. I go and grab it, and okay, no message appears over here. Maybe I should move the collider, set the size of collider like this, grab it. This has rigid body, this has box collider, okay. This has box collider enabled. How about now? Okay, after grabbing the box collider, I set this is trigger false, this trigger to true. Go over here, and it's just item grabbed with components, box collider is trigger to true. No, I should not do that. I should not do that. But how can I resolve this without doing that? Let's add another script for plant raise zone, and let's try to implement the same messages over here. Let's clear here and try this. Grab the pots, and it's not working still. It's not working because if the pot is over player plant raise zone, and I set this is trigger to true, and the pot is trigger to false, and that's why this one trigger enter is not working. If I make the is trigger to true for the pot when the one player grabbing this pot, and I will probably have hard time for getting these pots to interact with other pots, or on some collision elements on the screen. So I do not want to keep this pots is triggered to true. How about on collision? How about using on collision enter? Collision exits. If collision an object player tag is this. And let's comment out these functions. Having this cube not working. Should I needed to add rigid body, but if I add the rigid body, I add the physics movements over this guy. Okay, let's just use the raycast option. Action object. Let's just copy and just paste this function from here. Okay, sorry about this. I just set hit collider dots no hit distance. Let's set this to 1f. Also, so can you add a raycast debug for me to see the raycast? And this should be working. By the way, I just use ChatGPT to generate me some codes for this raycast detection. And I also want a layer and page. I only want the layer of this object collection, and maximum distance. Let's try this again. No hits, no hit, no hit, no hit, no hits. Let's grab it. Okay. Okay, this is my raycast line. Why it's not working? It still say that there is no hits. This is in the object collection and this has box collider on it. Set this to 2. Try again. Okay, I do not manage to park over this thing over this. So it's not working. Why you are not working? Transform down, out hit, maximum distance and layer mask is raycasts. It's a collider. No hit. Okay, it should be hitting. Is it because of this player sensor? Or maybe it's just think itself? No. And what's wrong with you? What's wrong with this? Okay. The problem is that I make the on-trigger-enter the item over its the collision of this item too much. So can this work without any rigid body? Let's just try it like this. And yeah, it's working. Just set the XY of this plant ray zone. It's hitting this plant zone. So, or if this guy is hitting over this mask, and I do not need to draw this raycasts also. So, if a hit with hit.collider name hitting a player ray zone, and this will be over this collider. So when dropping an item, when I try to drop an item on this pods, if item that can be grabbed that get components pods inside this components boolean get pods is over what's it plant ray zone. Set a boolean or is pot over plant ray zone. And if your raycast is hits, set this to true. If not, set this to false. And return is plant ray zone and get this value that can be called from other scripts. If pot dot is true and that the item dot or the is plant get a and pot over plant raise zone transform. Getting a transform, returning a transform from this will be better. Will be dot hit transform. If not, then set this to null. Item grabbed dot whatever is null, then do this. If it's not null, you set this to true again. Set the parent of this to get. By the way, I needed to rename it. Pot is over plant raise zone. Get pot over plant raise zone transform. Set the parent to this and set the position, let's say, to this, and is grab to item grab to null. Pot placed over raise with pot dots, not pot dot name, but get over dot name. There is no hit. Go over here and grab it, drop it, grab it, drop it, grab it, and pot placed over raise zone. Let's see what the current situation of my pots. And what it was position 0, not 0, but 1, 0, 1, 0, and 0. It's okay. Yeah, why not? Set local transform to 0, 1, 0, and set the rotation this. Grab it, drop it, grab it. Okay. It looks like it's working. When I drop the pot, it's placed over this raise zone. Also, let's make the raise zone a little larger than the other cube. Let's grab this and drop it over this raise zone, and yeah, it's looking nice. Maybe I can set the movement speed for this player to be a little slower. Where is the movement speed? Let's set this to 2. Okay. Actually, speed is not changing too much. So, the movement speed, set this to 3. I grab this and drop it over the raise zone. Okay. Okay, this is looking nice. So, place over this plant raise zone. Do not use this functionality. Let's remove this lines of code. And let's go to this to-do list and play plant raise zone functionality. It's looking nice. Also, plant raise zone. Another plant raise zone set. And plant raise zone over here. And let's just dialog. Hold on, let's disable this to see. Grab this. Okay, I can drop the pot over here. And let's just... Okay, this is looking really nice. I can drop it over here, drop it over here, and I can drop wherever I want. Plant raise functionality done. Add drop zone functionality. Also, in addition to this, I will need a drop zone. This is the drop zone where the player can interact with when they are raising and drop zone. When the pots are raised and when the process is finished, player can drop this over this drop zone. So let's make it green. Okay, and let's make it bigger. Let's say 3 by 3. So let's get it on the corner. So let's make the walkable area a little larger, like this. Too much, like this. Yes. And let's recalculate the walkable area, and this drop zone is inside this walkable area. So when I pot, yes, I can drop it over this drop zone. I can place it over raise zone. Maybe I can also increase the sizes of these box colliders for the player to place it. Yes, that's easier for the player to place this pot over the raising zones. So that's nice. And another thing I wanted to do, that's plant drop zone. And I wanted to add this fence. Add some fence at arrange temperature buttons. Okay, let's just, this is the plant raise zone. And is there any way to see the temperature over this plant raise zone? Let's add a canvas but let's add text, tmp text, row and text over here. Okay, something is wrong. UI, I will probably need a canvas. UI, canvas over here, and let's set this over this plant raise zone. This is the canvas. I do not want screen space overlay, but I want this canvas to be inside the world space. Camera, okay. UI and add text over here, text field over here, such as 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Okay, let's remove this camera and set the position of this canvas, but let's place it over the world space. This to 1, 1, and canvas size to 1, 1. Text to auto size. Okay, not working because the text size is really not big. And let's set the minimum size to 0. Okay, where is this text? Let's rotate this text to in x-axis. Can I see it? Yes. 1, 2, 3. 20 degree. Let's set this to 20 degree Celsius. How about setting this a little smaller? And yes, this is the 20 degrees Celsius and zone. Get another one, this, and you also have 20 degree, 55, and let's set this to 15 degree. And let's also place this degree over the pot. This is harder to see. Making it bold. Let's set the, okay, let's change the mesh under orange, dark orange. This is 15 degree. I'm not really sure that I should place this pot, the temperature of this pot over here. But let's just continue with this thing, and if the pot is placed, this pot is placed over raise zone, this thing. And if the pot is placed over here, I need to change the temperature of this pot. So let's set a public void place pot over raise, or public void effect pot temperature with raise zone temperature. Okay, and this is the pot we have. Also, I will need the current temperature reference, and let's get an awake function, and current temperature reference will be inside this tmp text fields. Tmp pro and tmp.text temperature text, and temperature text will be inside get component in children. This will be our temperature text, and if the pot is placed, affect pot temperature with raise zone temperature. If the pot is placed over raise zone, after the item grab is null, then get the pot effect with raise zone. But while doing this, pot needed to know that where it is located, it is placed. And who knows this? Which where the pot is placed over? Plant reason does not know anything about it, but pot knows about where it is located, where it's located over, which is this thing. Let's also get the temperature of the plant raise zone. Text public temperature text. Change string type to float. Text dots text null or return 0. Text. I wrote some codes that if I grab this pod over and place it over here, it just detects the. Okay, as you can see, I have a pot over here, which is, let's say, this is not 15 degree, but 10 degree. If I go over here and grab this pot and place it over here, the value of this pot will be changed from 10 to 15 degree. However, when I grab this pot, it's not reverting the temperature back. So let's also implement this functionality. Layer sensor, item that can be grabbed. Okay, if let's set a boolean to here, pot placed over raise zone, and at the and if the pot is placed over here like this, and the pot placed over raise zone should be true. Otherwise, it should be also if pot placed over raise zone, then the effect should be reverted. Set it and the effects or uneffects. I'm not really sure about this, but let's uneffects pot temperature. Pot dots on effects temperature zone, and what should be this thing? Temperature text. What will be the pot temperature? Will be pot temperature minus raise zone temperature, and pot temperature should be equal to this value. Okay, let's try this and let's see if this is working or not. It's placed over raise zone. Okay, when the pot is grabbed and when I drop this pot, it's 15 degree, and when I grab this back, it's 10 degree. When I grab it again and drop it, it's 15 degree. By the way, when dropping over the null zones, I want to keep the value of. Final thing for today I wanted to do is to keep the rotation 15 degrees. Okay, first let's test this out with this raise zone. Let's set the degree for this to, I don't know, 30 degree in Celsius. And I grab my 10 Celsius cube and grab it over 20 Celsius, it's 15 degrees. And when I place it over 13 Celsius, it's 20 degrees. And what I want to do for the final thing for today is to keep the rotation of this pot, set the rotation of this pot like this when I placed it over non-raised zones. So in order to do this, drop item placed over raise zone, If pots is not placed over, is not too bigger, placed over raise zone. And after I do this, I want to set the local rotation of this pot to 0. The Euler angle of this pot to 0. Let's see how this works. Let's grab it, drop it over here, and the value is changed to 15 degrees. And grab it again and drop it over here. It's 20 degrees right now. And if I grab it again, the degree turns back to 10 degree. And place it over here, it's 10 degree. And I want to place it like this. And it's still looking at the camera with the correct angle. And let's place it over here. Yes, null reference. I have null reference error because of this plant raise zone. Because this is not any plant raise zone, but this is plant drop zone. Grab it, drop it over here. It's still giving me the same error. Okay, that will be for tomorrow morning. Resolve drop over plant. Resolve the bug or dropping over plant. What is plant drop zone? While after placing pots over it, and add some fans for tomorrow morning. Add arrange temperature buttons. Yes, this is also for tomorrow morning, and start working on fan sections. Yes, that's all for today, and it is a nice day. This was a productive day for me, and I hope to continue on this game for tomorrow morning. And have a nice day. And right now I need to get to my day job. Have a nice day and see you later. Bye.